Hi, everyone. This is Angela again. I was unable, unfortunately, to reach Mr. Ridlin, but we do have a quorum with 4 members, and he wouldn't be able to vote on our continued hearings anyways. So I will ask that all of our commissioners turn on their cameras. And we can get started with the November 9th Leominster Conservation Commission. Once again, this meeting will be held virtually pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2020. Everything in this meeting will be recorded, as well as anything written in the chat will also become a part of the public record. All right, as I see everyone, we'll begin the roll call. We'll start with our chairman, Chuck Raymond.
Here, and thank you, Angela.
Thank you. And our vice chairwoman, Elizabeth Ricci Blair.
I am here.
Thank you. Michael Seeke.
I'm here.
Thank you. And Richard Gullick.
Here.
Thank you. And absent from the meeting is Amanda Lansing, Jeffrey Goyne, and Kenneth Ridlin. So we do have a quorum of 4 out of 7 members, so we are able to continue with our regular meeting.
All right, thank you, Angela. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody, and happy return to Eastern Standard Time. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, moving on. Let's see. Nothing under conservation land management and nothing under new hearings. Excuse me. Under continued hearings, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a new duplex dwelling with associated driveway, grading, utility connections. Address 1284 Central Street, map and parcel 566-1-1, DEP file number 199-1140. Is there anyone on the call to represent the project?
Yes, sir. Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Very good. Yourself?
Very good. Thank you. Proceed, sir.
Sure. It might make sense to also open up the next one because they're kind of both associated with one another.
Oh, easy enough. I can do that. Okay, then I'll call the next one into order as well. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a new single-family dwelling with associated driveway, grading, and utility connections. Address Leggett Hill Road, Lot 4, map and parcel 566-1-4, DEP file number 199-1135. With that, Chris, the floor is yours, my friend.
Sounds good. Okay. Out of curiosity, Angela beat me to it. Thank you. Can everybody see my screen right now?
Yes.
All right,
Yep,
great.
you're all set.
Just for the record, Chris Nance with Hannigan Engineering, here on behalf of Whitney's Company for the construction of a duplex and single-family home off of Leggett Hill Road. These projects were brought before the commission several weeks ago, or several meetings ago, I should say. And I figured it'd be a good idea to give the commission an update of where we're at. The commission might remember that these previous hearings were continued pending the issuance of a cert of compliance from DEP of the old orders from 2007. So we've been working with DEP trying to get resolve some concerns they had relative to the old orders in order to close those out so these order and condition reviews can move forward. Essentially at this point in time, there was concern raised about the existing culvert that's located or that runs from the wetland towards Bel Air Heights on the through the property, and who has actual maintenance requirements of that. Based on our review, we've been talking with DPW relative to what are their requirements going to be for the other miscellaneous utility infrastructure on the site, specifically the sewer line that runs through the center of the property. At their direction, they want the properties to have a homeowners association to encompass the maintenance of the sewer line, which at that point in time, the applicant has agreed to incorporate the maintenance of that drain line into that homeowners association, so that if anything ever comes up maintenance-wise, or if the pipe becomes structurally deficient, that it can be replaced accordingly. In addition to that, based on DEP's review, they also wanted us to incorporate some of the trees that were cut back when they did the initial clearing of the site. Based on our review, it would appear that those trees would have been taken down anyway, as they're on close proximity to the actual erosion control line and limit of work that we've designated on the plan. But nonetheless, we're requesting that those trees be also cut, as well as general cleanup of the site. Several of the commission members were on the site with myself a few months ago, and we noticed that the site had some leftover debris associated with the old single-family home that was on the property, as well as construction over the years. And DEP just also requested that removal and cleanup be also incorporated into the notice of intent filing as well. We did provide a narrative relative to these requests to the commission, so that it is now incorporated into the notice of intent process. Besides that, the general gist of what's happened since we last talked a couple meetings ago. If there's any questions from the commission, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Chris. So that's your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I just have a couple of questions. And this is probably in the filing. I apologize, I didn't read it thoroughly, but you mentioned the homeowners association. Not to put words in your mouth, but basically taking ownership, for lack of a better term, of the sewer line going through the property. Can I ask you which homeowners association is that?
It'll be a newly created one that'll be shared between the 4 total properties in this area. All
right, good, thank you. Appreciate that. And maybe I misheard you, or I misunderstood you or something. But in terms of the trees that the DEP had a concern with, you said they would have been taken down anyway, but you're going to be taking down more trees. Is that what you said?
No. If the DEP requested more of a matter after a fact clarification on the notice of intent filing.
Yep.
The trees that were cut back are located pretty much right in this general area of the site.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the proposed limit of work that we're showing on the plan now, it looks like the trees would have been right on the line, if not within the limits of disturbance. So it was just a matter of fact statement that DEP wanted us to make to the commission, so that those trees are accounted for into the notice of intent.
Okay, so there'll be no more trees taken down?
No, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, I just misunderstood you. I apologize. Nope. Okay, those are the only questions I had. I'll open up to the rest of the commission. Anybody else in the commission have any questions or comments for Chris?
Yeah, this is Mike Saki. Chris, I'm curious on the homeowners association. Will that be, excuse me, will that be part of the deeds? And the buyers will be mandated to be part of that homeowners association? Is that how that works?
Yes, sir. So typically with these sorts of homeowners associations is the project gets built out and the association is created, and as properties are sold and bought and whatnot back and forth, there's always a reference made within their deed to the homeowners association that they have to be contributing to it. The basis for financial requirements is usually determined by lawyers. Typically that's taken care of during the purchase and sale of properties for the life of the buildings, or life of the property in reality.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I take myself off mute. I don't do that too often, but when I do it, I do it well. Anybody else on the commission have any questions or comments for Chris? All right, I'll open up to the public then. Is there anybody on the call that wishes to, or that has any questions or wishes to address Mr. Anderson? If so, please identify yourself. Your name and address, please. Second time? Third and final time. All right. So that closes the public hearing aspect of this. Angela, what are your recommendations?
Hi, this is Angela Schofield here. So at this time, I would recommend that we leave the public hearing open and we continue it to our November 23rd meeting, as we still don't have the certificates of compliance from the state, the superseding certificates of compliance from the state issued.
Very well. Chris, was that your understanding of how we're going to go forward with this?
Essentially, yes. I just wanted to give the commission more of an update of what's going on, just to show we're not ignoring you guys. We're just trying to work through all these nip and tuck issues that the DEP came up with.
We had no such opinions of you, Chris, whatsoever. I appreciate you saying that, though. With that, is there a motion on the floor to continue this to the November 23rd hearing?
So this is Rich. I move to continue this one.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
This is Mike Seiki. I will second it.
This is Liz. I'll second.
Oh, well, thank you, Liz. Michael already jumped in. I appreciate it, though. Okay.
I'll go third.
No need for thirds. A second is perfectly fine, but thank you.
Thank
Right.
Third. So you only need thirds for Thanksgiving.
Sorry, this is Angela Schofield, so the rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Elizabeth Ricci-Blair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries. We'll continue this to our November 22nd meeting, both hearings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
All righty. Okay, moving on. So okay. So item C on the agenda, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a barn/farm stand and applicable access areas and gravel drive to farmland. Address 980 Central Street, map and parcel 317-11, DEP file number 199-1141. Is there anybody on the call to represent this project?
Yes, sir. Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering.
Chris, how are you?
Pretty good.
All righty. Have at it.
All righty. You can read through my screen again?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yep.
Just for the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering, here on behalf of Neighborhood Development Trust for the construction of a agricultural barn structure at off of Central Street. Just to reassociate ourselves with this project, we were before the commission several meetings ago, I believe, relative to a barn farm stand sort of structure that we were proposing on the back portion of the property. Since that time, we reevaluated the site. We've reviewed the wetlands regulations very much in depth relative to the 100-foot agricultural riverfront area versus the 200, and what actually constitutes a agricultural farm area for that requirement. But at this point in time, to move this project along, we've decided to utilize the 200-foot riverfront area as the basis for this analysis and design for this project as it moves forward. But as you can see, what we've done since the previous meeting is we've reduced the overall scope of the structure, as well as pulled it back further away from the riverfront, or the stream that flows along the northerly side of the property. What this does is it helps reduce the overall requirement for the alteration in that riverfront area. But some of the main features that we did maintain are the stormwater management system. I'm proposing a small underground storage system off to the side of the proposed structure that will capture runoff from a small parking area, as well as some of the roof drain system, as well as that'll be tied in, or any scuppers will be tied into that system as well. Essentially, from that point on, the entire site will be, or the limit of work will be surrounded by erosion control methods to mitigate movement of soil during construction. And all areas will be loamed and seeded upon completion of construction. But at the end of the day, we are proposing a total of 2,475 square feet of alteration, which equates to about 9.35% of the total riverfront area, with a typical 10% being the maximum allowed within a 200-foot riverfront area itself. That's generally the gist of the project and what we've done thus far. If there's any questions from the commission, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Chris. So I've been trying my best to keep up with the ins and outs and ups and downs of this project. Now the issue that I hung my hat on was the lack of, as I recall, and forgive me if I could get the terminology correct wrong, but the lack of use of this area as a farm over the past 5 years. So are you saying, since you're basing your presentation on the 200-foot riverfront regulation, that the farm that requirement is going away? Is that right?
Effectively, yes. Because of the age of the site has always been farmed in one way or another. The question became from a commercially saleable product being produced off the property over the last 5 years. That's kind of the issue that we all came up with. So to eliminate any concern relative to that issue, what we've done is essentially said we're taking away our 100-foot interpretation for the riverfront and just utilizing standard riverfront area act requirements for the 200-foot setback. Okay.
All right. So then going forward, then the property in question will still be used as an commercial agricultural entity, selling products at the farm stand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the farm field will continue to be utilized as it has been since many years. But for the purposes of this project, we're interpreting our riverfront area and this proposed structure as quote unquote non-agricultural for the 100-foot riverfront area.
Okay. All righty. That was the only question I had. Anybody else on the commission have any questions or comments? And if so, please identify yourself first. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Rich Gullick. Thank you, Chuck. I was on the site tour. I guess it was this past week. Things look good to me. That is clearly a farm. They grew potatoes and asparagus this past year. A lot more than one family could eat. So it's either given away or commercial. But I'm fine with them if they're going to use the 200-foot boundary. But everything looked good to me, and I would recommend we let them move forward.
All righty. Thank you, Rich. Anybody else? Please identify yourself first if you do.
This is Mike Seki, and I agree with Rich. It's the asparagus field has been there for many years. I bought a lot of product from that field when Bart owned it, and I think it's a wonderful project. I think it's going to benefit the city, and I really think it's a good idea.
Alrighty, thank you, Michael. Liz, do you have any comments or questions?
No, not really. Just reiterating what my last two colleagues said. I love farms much better than everything else. So, yeah, it's great.
All right, good. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate it. All right. With that, I'll open it up to the hearing to the public. Does anybody on the call wish to speak on this hearing? Any comments or questions? If so, please identify yourself and your address, please. Second time? Third and final time. Alrighty, with that, I'll close the public portion of the hearing. Angela, what do you have for us?
Hi, this is Angela Schofield here, the conservation agent for the city of Leominster. So since the public hearing is closed, my recommendation would be for the commission to issue an order of conditions for DEP file number 1991141, 980 Central Street. That includes our typical boilerplate, as well as the special conditions that, let me put my notes here, that before the work begins, the agent's given 40-hour notice for an erosion control inspection. And before trees are removed, I know that when we're on site, there's some issues with trees. So before the trees are removed, we meet with the agent just to go over which trees are being removed. The erosion control section. And then a pre-construction meeting with the agent as well. And those are the conditions.
All right, all set, Angela?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do I have a motion to accept or to provide the order conditions with the general and special conditions as outlined by Angela?
This is Mike Seiki. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Rich Gullick is seconding the motion.
Thank you, Rich.
This is Angela. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Elizabeth Ricci-Blair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to issue an order of conditions for DEP file number 199-1141, the conditions discussed. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Good night.
You too. All right. Thank you, Angela. Didn't get a chance to print out the agenda myself, so thank you for showing that. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the removal of a fixed dock and replacement with a floating dock. Address 27 Elm Street, map and parcel 121-5, and it looks like we're still waiting on a DEP file number. Is that correct, Angela?
I hope I unmute myself. This is Angela here. Yes, so actually I spoke with the homeowner yesterday via email. He had some things that he needed to include in the filing that he wasn't aware of. So he sent those to DEP on the 6th, and he's waiting to hear back from them.
Okay, so we just to make sure I'm doing this right, we need a motion to continue the hearing.
Correct.
Okay, do I have a motion to continue the hearing for the 27 Elm Street property?
Rich Gullick here. I will move to continue this hearing.
Thank you, Rich. Do I have a second?
This is Liz. I'll second.
Thank you, Liz.
This is Angela. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Michael Seiki, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to continue the hearing to our November 22nd meeting.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. According to the agenda, no new business, no old business. Under certificate of compliance, we have a superseding order of conditions for Leggett Hill, sent to the state waiting for issuance. And I keep forgetting, this is a different property than the one we just had a hearing on, right? On Leggett Hill?
Those are the same properties.
Oh, the other same.
So we are aware.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I have it under there just so that we're aware that we're waiting for the certificates.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So there's nothing to discuss. You're just waiting on that?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Extension permits, 96 Exchange Street, Herons Landing 2, 199-1061. New expiration date, July 3rd, 2022. What's happening with that, Angela?
So at this time, I still have not heard back from Kent Oldfield, the representative, or Matt Morrow, the wetland scientist for this project. So I'm still waiting to hear back from them in regards to if the wetland line has moved or not, and to get us a new wetland report and plan that reflects that.
Okay, so we're in a wait and hold mode on that one as well. All right, thank you. All right, nothing under communications. Meeting minutes. We've got two on the docket, November 12th, 2020 and September 10th, 2019. I wasn't on the commission in 2019, but I looked at the November 12th one. Minutes, and they look fine to me. And anybody else in the commission have any questions or comments or edits that they'd like to see made to either one of those? With that, apparently there are none. Angela, what do we need to make a motion for both of these?
Yeah, so we just need a motion, and the commissioners just to vote to basically accept and publish them.
All right. Well, my question is the only one of the four of us that was on the commission at the time was Liz, I believe. I know it was before my time. So how does that work, Angela?
So basically, Liz would be the one who would have to make the motion if she was so inclined.
Okay.
Everyone else can vote to accept them as they've read them. It's mainly just
Okay.
it's basically what's the right term, but cleaning up house basically.
Okay, understood. Okay, so actually for the first one, it was just myself and Liz. So Liz, would you like to put a motion on the floor to accept the minutes for November 12th, 2020?
Yep, so I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for November 12th, 2020.
Thank you. Angela, can I second that? How does that work?
No, the chair cannot second, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So do we need a second?
Yes, we do need a second.
So how does that work?
So either Michael or Rich would have to second. They just can't make
Oh, they can second. They just can make okay, got it. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll second this one. This is Rich Gullick. Mike can get the next.
Thank you, Rich.
I second her motion.
All right, thank you. So the rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Michael Siki, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Wonderful. So the motion carries and will approve the November 12th, 2020 meeting minutes and September 10th, 2019 meeting minutes. Thank you, everyone.
All right, moving on. Under enforcement, 519 Pleasant Street. Update the meeting with new owner, letter sent via certified mail. What's happening with that, Angela? Other than what's in the agenda.
So basically what's on the agenda is where it is. They still have not contacted me. I'm still trying to figure out maybe if it got forwarded. So I'm going to try and send another one. I haven't received the green card back yet. So I'm not really sure. I might just even stop by and do a little door knocking, as uncomfortable as that is.
All right, the saga continues with 519 Pleasant. Okay, thank you, Angela. All right, Peninsula on Lakeshore Drive, bank eroding due to past alteration. Angela, what do you have for us? Do we need to have Michael recuse himself?
Yeah, I'd like to recuse
Yes,
myself for this discussion.
Thank you, Michael.
So actually, since Michael does have to recuse himself, we only have 3 members here to discuss this, which is not a quorum. So we should continue this to the next meeting.
Wonderful. Do I have a motion to then to continue the hearing for Peninsula on Lakeshore Drive?
So moved. This is Rich Gullick.
I heard Liz first, so we have the motion. Rich, would you like to second that?
I would like to second that. This is Rich Gullick, seconding the motion from Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries as we continue to the November 22nd meeting.
And we need to have Michael come back to the meeting?
Correct.
Okay. Michael, would you like to unrecuse yourself?
I will now unrecuse myself.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right.
This is my
last. Great. All right. Last one under enforcement. 9 Kendall Hill Road. Previous DOA issued. The work has been moved and is now within 5 feet of the resource area. There's some sedimentation into the wetland as well. What do you have for that, Angela?
Angela Schofield here again. So I was actually alerted about this issue by one of our newer members, Mr. Ridland, who lives in that area. And I don't know if the commission, some of the newer commissioners weren't here, but Chuck and Liz, you might remember we did a determination for 9 Kendall Hill for a pool install. It's about 50-ish feet away from the wetland, but there's a slight slope and then there's a vegetated area, like a little landscaped area, and then the wetland was this, right there. Unfortunately, I'm about to share some pictures. I'm just trying to figure out how to switch screens really quickly. Unfortunately, the work has moved. They put in some sort of, I'm not a pool person, so I'm not sure the exact technical term for it, but it's basically, it's not letting me share the screen, where all the stuff goes for the heating and the electrical for it within, I was told it was 5 feet originally, but when I got out there, let me see if they'll let me open this.
Ooh.
When I got, sorry, I'm having a hard time sharing the screens here. When I got out there, ended up being closer to about a foot. So I don't know if everyone can see that.
Wow.
So there was a lot of digging, a lot of site work. There was no erosion controls put in place. And basically, why is my screen flashing? I apologize. I'm not very good at screen sharing. You can kind of see here where I'm standing is basically 3 inches away from the wetlands. behind me. And I'll see if I can get the next picture to show up.
So we're looking away from the wetlands in this shot, and the wetlands are right behind you?
Yes.
Okay.
Open all the pictures at once to make this a little bit easier. Should have had this ready to go. Let's see if I shrink that. Will it bring it back to here? Basically, this is I was standing on a rock, and you can see the dirt, and then basically, let's see if I can draw on it a little here. Right here, the wetland is right there. You can see all the work they did.
Interesting.
Angela, this is Mike Siki. What is this picture? What are we looking at there? Is that electrical and water?
Correct. Basically, so there was it's a very high groundwater table there. I don't know why my yellow line won't disappear, but you can see here, drawing tools, erase all drawings. I can draw again. Basically, this is a trench right here for the heating and electrical for the pool, which they moved the pool farther away from the wetland. So I think it's closer to 60, 70 feet away, the actual pool in this area. But there will be, as I discussed before, a patio area involved. Hence why they wanted the heater and everything, which is understandable. But they were told that they were covered because they moved the pool out of the jurisdiction of the commission, because pools are exempt if they're 50 feet away. But since they did the electrical box right, basically on top of the wetlands, I explained to them that basically negated the exemptions, and now they were going to have to be under enforcement as that wasn't part of the original permit. I tried to get it. It's really difficult to see in here, but this is obviously the wetland. There's some sedge and bulrush in here, but there is a little bit of sedimentation and silt in the wetland area. It's it most likely came from the rains we had and from washing out from the work they did, as there was no erosion controls. But it's difficult to tell if I didn't have an auger on me, so I wasn't able to go in there and auger, and it was freezing that day, so I wasn't able to tell how much sediment was there, if it'd be worth removing it. But it was, it's obviously highly concerning. They did have a permit, but they unfortunately did not follow the permit. The electrician and the, I think I get another good picture. The electrician and the pool guy seem to have misunderstood. Why isn't it? Did my screen change? I apologize.
It's the No, you're not sharing.
No, I'm not sharing. Hold on. They make it very difficult to share photos on here. There we go. They were trying to measure out how far away they were. There was also hoses of water going, basically because of the high groundwater table, they were pumping water directly into the wetland. And when I was on site there, I had them remove all that. I ordered them to immediately install erosion controls and to seesaw work, and I waited until all the contractors left the site, as they, really needed to not be there at that time since they didn't have any erosion controls in.
That's really interesting. I'm sorry, anything else, Angela?
So I haven't issued an enforcement order yet. I wanted to present it to the commission first and have some discussion. The applicant was going to have his son attend the meeting. It does not look like he did, because the applicant unfortunately is in Uruguay right now. He's a homeowner as well. So I did tell him that my recommendation would be to issue an enforcement order to file a retroactive, seesaw work, file a notice of intent for all the work they're doing now. He has to hire an engineer, do the site work. No work can continue except for backfilling the trench as well as the area around the pool. That's primarily for safety. He does have 2 young grandchildren that live with him, and it's a pretty deep trench, so we don't want to have any accidents. And so I visited the site last Thursday, and the erosion controls are put in that afternoon as I was leaving, and I believe the trench was backfilled on Friday.
All right, thank you, Angela. Yeah, no, does kind of disturb me, because I do remember that them being in front of us before, and the fact that they've been in front of us before and know our process, that they basically just completely disregarded any requirements that they had fallen upon them. I'm fully in support of an enforcement order. But before we do that, anybody else on the commission have any comments or questions for Angela?
This is Rich Gullick, Chuck. I would agree with you in your assessment that, certainly folks who've been in front of the commission and know the rules should be held to them. I would have more sympathy for a case where they had not been in front, were new to the process, and so on. For folks who know it, let's hold them to it.
Yeah, Chuck, this is Mike Seeky. I totally agree with Rich, and it's not. I don't think it's so troubling that it's the homeowner. I think I understand that the homeowner speaks very little English, and that language is always a challenge. But we've got 2 licensed contractors that are doing business here, and that's the real troubling part, because they do know the restrictions no matter what, and they should have checked. They know the restrictions, so that's very troubling.
All right, thank you, Michael.
Especially when you see folks like the engineer earlier tonight, who in a couple places had moved what they needed to do to follow the rules. The farmer, right. They changed what they were doing, and they accepted this rule and moved it back to make it easier. We got folks doing that. We need to, be consistent.
Thank you, Rich. Liz, you all set? Yep. You all set, Liz?
Yeah, I'm just a little surprised by it. That's all. That they did come to and did everything correct, and then now we're back with an enforcement.
Yeah, you and I both remember them. Yeah, understood. All right, thank you. So Angela, what's the next is a motion for an enforcement order for the property?
So this is Angela here, correct. So my recommendation would be for us to issue an enforcement order to the property owner. Legally, we have to issue it to him, even though he was told by the people he hired that he was allowed to do this work. But I also would recommend that we issue an enforcement order to Surfside Pools, who is the pool company who was involved, as well as ERS Electrical, who is the electrical company who was involved. Basically, that will hold them accountable, and if there are any issues that arise after the enforcement order, it does give the state the standing to issue them fines or force them to do additional work. And it does go on the record as well.
Good. I appreciate that. So the homeowner and the 2 contractors. Perfect. Thank you, Angela. Do I then have a motion to issue the enforcement order as described by Angela? Yes, Rich. Did you say something before that?
Yeah, I'd like to ask before the motion. I just want to clarify, Angela. What can you tell me again? Because I'm getting a little garbledness in some of the. Yeah, I'm on my phone because I didn't get the computer audio today, I guess, to work. But what exactly are we requiring in the enforcement order from them? Actions, fines? I missed the details of it. I agree in principle, but what are the details?
This is Angela here. So we didn't really get into too much of the nitty-gritty of the details, which I think is really important for us to discuss. Basically, the extent I'm looking at the enforcement order form right now. The extent and type of activity is obvious. It's quite obvious by the pictures, and I'll attach those. The activity is being conducted in an area subject to protection, and they do have a negative determination, and so I'll list that on here. And so under section C of the enforcement order, it says the issuing authority hereby orders, check all that apply. The property owner, his agents, permittees, and all others shall immediately cease and desist from the activity, which is the first box I would like to have us check off. The resource area alterations resulting from said activity shall be corrected and the resource areas returned to their original condition. I think that box would be important to check off, as I would like to make sure that the sediment that did get into the wetland, if it's minor, it'll most definitely convert into hydric soils and not be a huge deal. But if it ends up being, a couple of inches throughout that entire wetland system, clogging the culvert pipe that goes underneath the roadway, it can cause a larger problem in flooding. So I'd like to have that evaluated as well. And then section C continued, I would like them to complete the attached notice of intent form. And then it'll be filed on a said date. So because of the the issues that we're having with engineers being backed up, I was looking at the dates as far, having them file the notice of intent for the second meeting in December, ideally, but with understanding that right now it's really difficult to get an engineer. The homeowner seems very confident that he can have an engineer have the plan to me by the end of the week. But I'm not sure if he understands that most engineering firms are out 8 to 12 weeks. And then I really like, I don't want to punish the homeowner too much, as I don't think he was told that what he's doing is right. I don't think revoking his permit, revoking his right to have a pool there is necessarily the correct action. But, having him file for it, submit site plan, and, have erosion controls and maintenance, and making sure that there's an order of conditions to permit this alteration is highly important.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is Rich. If I could sum that up briefly, from my own understanding, this order would prevent them from doing any further work that they've been doing, would fix what you thought was damaged, such as that erosion section, and then they'd have to reapply, but there would be no financial fine or anything like that. They're still allowed to move forward with the pool, but they're getting a little hand slap and saying you got to do it right. Does that sum it up reasonably well?
Correct. And then since we have the enforcement order there, if for some reason they ghost us, they don't want to do anything, the state then can come in and take over the enforcement, and they have the right to issue fines and fees and revoke things. They're a little more scary.
Thank you for the clarification, and also Mr. Chair for the time to clarify that. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate that, Rich. I appreciate the clarification. That's something I overlooked, so that was very helpful. I appreciate it. All right, Angela, now what?
Am I helping to unmute myself? This is Angela. So the next step would be for if anyone would like to make a motion or have any discussions about what I proposed as my recommendation, or anything additional that the commission would like to see done there.
All right, thank you. So this is Chuck Raymond again. Does anybody else on the commission either have any further comments or questions or things he or she would like to see in the enforcement order, or conversely, is there a motion to issue the enforcement order as described by Angela?
Well, this is Mike Seiki. I think, I don't know, is it appropriate for several of us to go up and take a look to give you some support in the order and the actions going forward? Or do you think that they're sufficiently, I don't want to use the wrong term. You think that they're humbled to this point where they're going to work with us and work with us in the correct way? Angela.
Angela here. Yes, I do think that the homeowner is most definitely willing to work with us. He was like, oh, I'll have everything done by Friday. I was like, no, don't worry. I'm like, don't rush. I'm like, get the hay bales here. That's the most important part. Backfilling everything, that's the most important part. So I think he's most definitely willing to work with us as soon as possible. I don't think it would hurt for the commission to do a site visit there. It's, it's a pretty interesting site, and it's a large site and a large violation in terms of, something that maybe we haven't done before. But it would be helpful to have other commission members involved with it, as, I do have several other enforcements, and, have some other people, keeping an eye on it and stopping by would be helpful.
I believe I would love to do that. This is Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Oh, Angela, would it be more appropriate to do an actual commission group site visit, or individually as we each get time?
This is Angela, whatever everyone prefers. I think the group site visits are always really nice because you kind of can point things out that maybe I miss, or that you have questions, I'm able to answer them, as well as it's nice to always see each other in person.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to go? Oh, yes, Rich.
A question on that. So I would certainly be willing to do the site visit, but should we go ahead now with the enforcement order so that the cease and desist is effective now?
Oh no, I had no intention of using a site visit to delay this. Trust me. No, yeah, no, just an informational thing. We can still go, but we need a motion for that. But so for our first order, Angela, if you want to go ahead and send out a doodle poll, whatever it is that you do to try to coordinate having a group site visit, barring that, we can certainly go ahead individually too. And then the second order is, can we do I have a motion then to accept to issue an enforcement order as described by Angela for the property at 9 Kendall Hill Road?
This is Rich Gullick. I'll move forward with an enforcement order on that property as with the conditions described by Angela moments ago.
Thank you, Rich. Do we have a second?
This is Mike Seiki. I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, This is Angela Schofield. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Vice Chairwoman Elizabeth Ricci Blair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries. Issue the enforcement order as described, and I will send out that doodle poll when I get in the office tomorrow.
Thank you very much. If I could just see the agenda. Thank you. Okay, so that's it for enforcement orders. Nothing under emergency certifications. And budget, again, request for transit. We discussed this last time too. Request for transition of money from the Wetlands Protection Act fund to fund an intern position in the Conservation Commission office. Angela is drafting a letter to the mayor and along with a job description.
Angela here. So I did, I drafted the letter, I drafted the job description, and I had one of my coworkers who has probably like 72 different interns and stipend employees take a look at it. And she felt my job description is a little bit too detailed. So I'm kind of I'm working on filing it down a little.
Okay.
So once I have a second or third draft, I'll share that with you, with everyone here. I just want to make sure it's well done before I submit it.
Good. I appreciate you doing that, and good luck with that. You certainly need the admin help.
Thank you.
All right. With that, the next meeting will be Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. The deadline for submitting applications and other information for that was last Friday at noon. Yes, Rich, you have a comment or a question?
Hi, we have a meeting next week before then on the 16th.
Yeah, so that's a special meeting. Angela, should we discuss that here or what?
We don't need to discuss that here. That's a special meeting just for that
right.
permit, basically just due to the time constraints and the weather.
I was just saying that is, quote, our next meeting. So I was correcting the agenda, so to speak. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Rich Gullick here.
Yeah. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate the clarification. So our next regularly scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021 at 6 o'clock. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting tonight?
This is Mike Seiki.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I think I heard Michael first. Thank you, Michael. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Liz.
This is Angela Schofield here once again. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. So was it Mike that did the first?
Yes.
Okay, so let me make sure. Mr. Gullick, how do you vote?
Thank you, Angela. I vote aye. Adjourned.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to end the November 9th City Leominster Conservation Commission meeting at 6:58 p.m. just in time for me to go to my next meeting.
Well, that was my goal, Angela. So good luck and thank you for everybody. And we'll chat next week at the special meeting.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck and